Oh, yeah, it's pulled from Wolf Software Systems, and it's so I'm not going to start this video again. This is the third time, so so I'm just going to go for it. If you've wandered across this video and you don't know what you're looking at, WolfStack is a clustering piece of software for managing computers. You can manage one computer, you can manage 100 computers, you can manage tiny little computers that have no memory or disk. Doesn't really matter as long as they're running Linux. Should work without a problem. Anyway, so and also if you have existing Proxmox clusters, you can install WolfStack over the top, and instead of having to go through each Proxmox cluster, you can actually just see it all within one dashboard like this, including all the geo mapping. So I've got a mixture of WolfStack clusters here and Proxmox clusters. This one, for instance, is a Minio cluster that was set up before we just threw WolfStack on it, and it picks it up. And then we add them, and if you want details of how to do that, so just go to wolfstack.org. It's just one line on each server, and then you configure it how you want it depending on which way you're going to do it. So we've set up an app store. So if you go to App Store now, just clear this out so you see how many apps are actually in here, and there's quite a few different apps you can choose from. And you can just choose one and install. So I'm gonna do a little NaN install, NaN like this, and I'm going to click install. Now the first thing I'm going to do is choose which server I'm going to deploy this container to. Now we have quite a few here. I've actually got 17 on a different setup. We've only got 14 on this one. So let's see. We're going to put it on Sophie, and we're going to give it a password like that. I'm going to install now. I just have to sit there for a little while it downloads the Docker container. So while we're doing that, I'm going to tell you a little story. So I'll show you the networking setup in a minute of how we route the ports through so we can actually get to it from the outside world. It's really easy. But we were testing yesterday, and I managed to map port 8443 on a Docker on a Proxmox cluster using WolfStack, and of course then the Proxmox cluster got very upset and stopped completely. So what? If that happens to you, all you have to do to go and fix it is boot into rescue mode, go into OPT WolfStack, and there's a little text file which has the routing. You just delete it or edit it or whatever, then reboot in normal mode, it'll all come back. Everything in WolfStack, we try and keep it simple. So what the idea is, I want people who are like home lab users up to full professionals running masses of servers to be able to use our tools. People who want to learn about Docker and learn about LXC containers and VMs and multiple servers and things like that. Anyway, so now I've deployed to Sophie. You'll see Sophie has now got a Docker container attached, and there she is. That's that NaN attachment. Now I'm just going to run it straight away. Now you see it's got an IP address. That's 10.10.10.2. So when you install we built a thing called WolfNet, which is a Mesh 6 network basically, which is like military grade encryption. It's really cool, and it means that you don't have to do any configuration of it. It just installs and sets itself up, and then as you add servers to the system, it will actually put them on the WolfNet, and then we use WolfNet to actually do our transferring and moving of data, even on Proxmox clusters. So we just use WolfNet kind of over the top of the Proxmox setup. So you can carry on using Proxmox as normal, but with WolfStack you just manage it. I manage it all with WolfStack now. So anyway, so if I look at this Docker container, you'll see that it shows me what ports are in use. So port 5678 is the one that it's using. So the problem is at the moment is it's on that local network, WolfNet network. So I need to actually map it from the server's net IP address through to that. And this is how you do it in WolfStack. Go to networking, go to public IP mappings, add mapping. Now you see it has already listed the public IP of the server. Obviously, if you've got in our networking section on the website, you can actually see how to set it up with things like vSwitches and stuff like that. But for simple use, this is it. So WolfNet IP, you can see there it says Docker NaN, and I'm going to go from 5678. Just I'm going to keep them the same, and I'm going to TCP only. Now you note it says warning. It's already used by Docker proxy. Well, we know that because that's actually where we're going to go. So the source port is 5678. The destination port is also 5678. Do this right, 5678. Helpfully my browser put some garbage in there. I don't know what that was about. And I'm going to call it, so I know what it is, and then NaN Docker. Okay, so now I've created the port map. I'm going to create port mapping, and you'll see that it's created there. So that means if I go to that address on port 5678, I should get something. 5678, and it's bashed to there. Actually, I don't know, I've not tested this, but that's actually the container. And it's obviously it's upset about not having a secure URL, but we could do, I don't know if this is going to work. Sophie.wolf. I'll just try and see if I can get it onto there. No, okay. So I'd have to go to an extra stage to set up SSL to talk to that secure, or go into the Docker container. So what I could do is I could actually go into the Docker container and tell it I don't really want to run it that way. So you could just go into here, do whatever I need to do, restart the container, and then it should work without a problem. So all I've done is mapped the host's IP address and port through to the Docker container, and the same works for LXC containers and VMs that you create with WolfStack. You'll find that you can assign a WolfStack IP address. You just then do a simple mapping. Okay, so it means that you don't have to go out and get lots of extra IP addresses. Unlike so with Proxmox, if you want to have the containers exposed to the outside world, you can do it that way, but it's a bit of a fiddle. With this, it's just easy, and it's designed to be easy so that anyone can really, learn how to do this kind of networking. So once it's done, and then obviously I can just delete this as well if I want to. So I'm just going to stop it now, and you can see with Docker containers there's loads of settings and things, and it's all done. I've tried to make it really, really easy for anyone who's learning. Once they know the basics of IPs and things like that, it kind of manages that. Right, I'm just going to get rid of this connection because obviously now I put it on a video, everyone will be trying it. But you can see, you can set all your DNS and everything in here, and obviously again, if it's sitting on if it is sitting on Proxmox, on top of Proxmox, it fully integrates with it. It supports Proxmox backup, WolfStack does, which is all getting a bit off of the beaten track for this video. So I hope that's helpful. Please do join our Discord. We've got a good little group of people there, and we're trying to grow it, obviously, because we want to really grow this. We want to get it out there. We want people to try it. And also, if you have got a spare $10, $12 a month, you wouldn't mind contributing to the product, please. If you go to our wolfstack.org, wolfstack.org, I can't even spell WolfStack. WolfStack. If I was a good video editor, I'd edit it out. So if you go to wolfstack.org, that's got all the things, including join us on Patreon, and there's some different options there. And this really helps us to develop the software and keep it free. Obviously, if you're a company and you want more support and things like that with it, and maintenance, and we can even run it for you, please get in touch. But it's really cool to install it on existing servers, the bare metal servers, VPSs. It doesn't really matter what you install it on, because it's designed to be small. I was talking to someone on the Discord the other day. I said I want people to be able to install this on anything. So we're not going to have an ISO. You just basically boot up your server, your VPS, your Raspberry Pi, your whatever. You run the installer, which will compile the software on your platform, so it's tuned particularly to your platform and to your operating system. And then off you go. The best way to learn with this software is to play. So, and have a chat with us on Discord or our Reddit. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube video. And I think that's about all I'm going to say. Thanks very much.